Hello and welcome. Today, I'm Olga and this is Lisa. Lisa will introduce herself in a minute. Lisa is with Java, our international dog champion. And just this is an opportunity to informally talk with Lisa. It's a bit like beside the fire chat, though it's daytime, but you can imagine. So, Lisa, please sort of tell about yourself a little bit kind of what you do and a bit of background about yourself.
Oh, sure. I am a graphic designer by trade, and also been a volunteer puppy raiser of guide and service dogs for 20 years. That's been a real passion of mine. Generally, a volunteer puppy raiser gets the puppies about 8 weeks of age. I got Java a few weeks later because she had some health issues, and then it was like kind of right as after COVID when things were really kind of starting to get back into order, and so there was trouble getting flights. And so they had to find a private pilot to fly her to me from California. One really cool thing was I also got to raise Java's mother and grandmother
Oh wow! So
through the
you have
organ.
the
Yeah,
whole the family history.
exactly. So that was really kind of really cool to be able to like have those multiple generations and see the similarities and things like that.
Wow.
So yeah, and then so we have them for about 16 to 18 months,
Mhm.
and we teach them basic obedience and socialization. Socialization being really the key factor, as the dogs are going to be out working and all that kind of stuff. And we do have a professional training program, so the program lines out all the skills and cues that we teach the dogs. So having such a cookie cutter volunteer program like that really helps all of our dogs that we're raising be more successful so that when they do get to the professional training side of it, they all have a very similar baseline of stuff so that then that transition isn't so strong or like
Yeah.
complicated. So Java went into professional training. It was determined she wouldn't be a breeder, and so she was castrated. And then they decided that she just had a little bit too much get up and go to be successful
Okay.
as a service dog. So she was released back to me. So she was only the second one that I've been able to adopt back as a pet. My first one had died just before she turned in. So after having her for 14 years. So I was really, really honestly kind of grateful to have Java back because it really kind of helped fill that hole that my previous dog Ellie had left. We were so bonded, and the two of them were just so similar. It really kind of felt like Ellie had tagged off on Java to bring her back into my life.
Mm.
So that was so we spent the first couple of months when I had her back, just getting her back acclimated to being in a home life and getting her kind of decompressed because
Yeah,
professional training can be very challenging for a lot of dogs with the change and things like that.
definitely.
So we spent a couple of months getting her back acclimated. And then I knew I wanted to do some fun things with her and really challenge her brain because she was such a really smart puppy. She just caught on to all the cues really, really fast,
Mhm.
which, I mean, service dogs are smart, but she
Yeah.
took it to a whole new level.
She is. It was interesting watching all of your videos. It's your dialogue and interaction is very different level from the kind of uh, usual interaction with the dogs. It's you look like friends who just having great time of their lives, and I think that's one of the things that really stood out for everyone who was judging your entries. Just how strong is the bond and how wonderful is that connection and understanding. And yes, you were very clear with your cues, but the way you were interacting and linking, connecting together was really, really special.
That I think really got sealed after Ellie passed because she was a challenging puppy with all of her health issues.
Mm.
She had to have braces and things like that,
Oh,
with teeth issues. And she had like 4 surgeries before the time she was 5 months old. And it was just a real challenging process. So I think that also really helped us create a really strong bond because there were so many extra procedures and things that we had to take her through and that I had to help her through and all that, that it just some of those little hiccups and that you have really honestly strengthen it in the end.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
That's
I
interesting, as you were described now, and I remember you were shared the photos on Facebook with your little story about with the airplane and etc. Now I understand where the airplane is coming from, because I was thinking that you perhaps either you work in the airport or fly the dogs regularly, but it's a Java's adventure on your own.
Exactly. It's been quite a process. So it's really been fun because she's also when she came home, I knew she had to like do a bunch of different like I had to engage her some other way, and we found that brain games class at PetSmart,
Mhm.
which honestly I had no idea there was this whole other world of like dog sports and things like that. I mean, I had been deep in the service and guide dog world for 20 years, so it was really neat to be able to explore that and that there were all these fun outside things that dogs could do. So, and she absolutely, after she came back, she was a little um, shy and whatever when she came back. And when we got to that class, I mean, she just exploded with joy. It was just like you completely saw a whole other different side of her. And I was like, this is the Java that I
Mm.
really love and admire. And so that took us down a total rabbit hole searching the internet, and I found the AKC tricks, which were fun and whatever, but they're kind of
Oh, they're fun. I mean, they're a great starting point. What I like about them is the structure, but also is the it's smaller number of tricks. So I mean, with our tricks, perhaps you look and think, oh gosh, where to start. But they
right.
have a kind of it's a useful entry level
Uh-huh.
potentially. But once you sort of get a feel of, yeah, actually, yes, that's fun. Then always people look for more ideas, more tricks. I think that's
And
where.
they do like to really promote the, I guess, the whole like storytelling thing of it, which was really, really hard for me. It was always very like because I guess of the guide dog service dog thing, it was
Yeah,
so structured. The storytelling thing was really, really hard for
that's
me,
awesome.
but I'm getting better. I even tried it in the competition.
No, it was fun, and I think that's one of the things we try to, in a way, encourage people to try to step outside of their sort of comfort zone a little bit and experiment in a sort of very safe environment with a bit of friendly feedback. And I think
It
that's.
was. Yeah, and when I found the Dog Talent Association, I loved the amount of tricks. And not only that, I think my favorite part was the tracks.
Mhm.
Because obviously you had the helper track
Yeah.
and the thinker track, which those were totally up my alley with the, history of the working dogs. And then the athlete track just even stemmed more interest in all the different dog sports because we discovered parkour that way. And we've gotten our champion title in parkour and working on grand champion and premier titles right now.
Okay.
So that's like super fun. And honestly, like looking back at my very first video that I sent in, it was so embarrassing.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. And I think it's. I mean, we all, when we look back on our first attempt of doing something, think about when you were trying to learn to walk. It wasn't very steady, or ride a bike, or drive a car. It felt like, oh gosh, that's so many things to remember. And the same with dog training. You start with something, it kind of feels like overwhelming, and yes, you look back thinking, oh gosh, I grown. So I think you shouldn't look back and think that was embarrassing. You should look back and think how much I've grown. Look.
Because I did admire that it felt so cold with me with her there, and I'm like, I like it now better that we do have that warm, encouraging, exciting relationship. Like I've been able to break through that, so it was really kind of neat because it was about Well, it was a year ago in March when I submitted my first video, so I was like, really, oh my gosh, I can't believe just that bond that we've had it has developed that much in a year, and all the like positive feedback and all the like silly questions that I would ask. I'd be like, what is this? What is this? And like, you really taught us so much, like almost pretty much everything that we know now,
No, I
through
think
all
you
the
learned by
videos.
yourself. We were just guiding. But it was interesting throughout the competition. One of the things that we really have been trying, and so all judges were really trying, is about that sort of relationship with the dog. So it's not just about the trick and the quality of tricks. We feel that the relationship is the fundamental element of uh, any dog sport. And we sometimes see the where the dog tricks is very much they call it like transaction. You do a trick, you got a treat. You do a trick, you got a trick. A very like a kind of almost like coin machine.
Mhm.
um, that works, but I think if you actually open up to more like personal person to person relationship, treat dog as a person, then that really helps the dog to blossom. Because say for example, are there with other people, if they do something that you get something, it's effective interaction, but it's limits it to that sort of interaction that doesn't allow to step outside of the boundaries. You are
Exactly.
not inviting person to volunteer something or actually sort of be part of the process. You just like a machine. So it's for us really important that it's people realize that there is a more to dog tricks and bond with the dog than trick for treat. Uh, yeah, so it's that sort of
And that's what I want people to get most out of if they see Java or I working is that it's the relationship first, and then all that other stuff is built on top of it. Because without the relationship, she would be like, I don't care about any of this stuff. But a lot of it that it's been fun is just finding things that really interest her and you know and I would have never guessed half of them, and she just gets so excited when she does it right, and
yeah.
it's just like it's hard not to like be like so excited for her.
No, absolutely, and I think that's what when they're actually like friends, when you're friends rather than a in a way work type relationship. um, but it's very interesting sort of to like to learn a little bit more about Java as a person. So what sort of things she actually likes doing, what sort of things she doesn't like, what sort of how would you describe her personality?
Well, she is fully caffeinated. That's usually what I tell people.
I
Which
like that
having her
description.
name Java is totally fits. So that's really awesome. Like, and everybody that she meets, she just absolutely thinks they're just the bestest person in the world.
Mhm.
She absolutely loves a challenge, and when she gets to really use her mind, and almost the harder the challenge, the better she likes it. And the more pride she takes when she's able to accomplish it. And she's honestly so patient as I try to figure out different ways to utilize her skills and her brains and try to figure out, hey, let's problem solve this, or let's problem solve how to do that. And I mean, even if I have to take a step back and while we're training or whatever, go, I wonder what I'm doing wrong and how I need to better communicate with her the end goal. It's just been really fascinating how she sits there and just is like, okay, human, take a few moments.
Yeah, let me lead, let me show you. I think I got
Exactly. And it's
it.
just, yeah. So it's like, it's just trying to like do that and take the cues off of her. She really, really loves athletic type things where she gets to jump anytime she gets to jump. I mean, I hope that's obvious. She loves
Yeah,
jumping.
she does.
Um, So sometimes I have to be really careful that she doesn't like go a little overboard.
Yeah, yeah.
But she loves that kind of stuff. She really loves it when we are doing teamwork kinds of things,
Mhm.
like the helper dog stuff, when she thinks she's really, helping me out with a task in that way. She loves those kinds of things. Sometimes she really seems to enjoy it when they do have props.
Uh-huh.
Like, it gives her something to focus on,
Yeah,
even if
yeah,
it's really tiny or something, because she seems almost like she'll do some of the other stuff, but without props, but she just doesn't have that same,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
vigor.
Yeah. No, no, absolutely. So I think yes, watching her, she definitely enjoys props and prop interactions. But it's interesting, she also clearly having her as an active partner does help her to give that sort of freedom for her to explore. And I think that's why she finds that quite so rewarding,
Mhm.
because she sees it as a essentially an opportunity, an invitation to um, add her kind of idea, add her element, and yes, try something new. So that's why I think she gets excited about props.
You did a very excellent much better job of explaining it or, like, putting words to it than I could have.
No, I know it's it. Oh, what sort of other things? Because you mentioned the parkour. You're doing parkour, and what other things you do with what other dog sports you do with Java, or what other things, activities you do with Java?
It's been such a learning experience since I had no idea any of this stuff existed. I mean, I knew like scent work existed because my best friend does FEMA urban search and rescue dogs.
Mhm.
So we are starting our scent work and nose work training and things like that. Just trying to see what we can do with that. And she's absolutely loving that. It gives her a goal to go towards, and she's always been and just if we can put an obstacle in her way to get to the scent, then she is like, "Oh, that's even better."
Yeah, more challenge. But again, that's kind of giving her something to yes think through and invite her for the yeah.
Exactly, and it's funny if I do put an obstacle there, she sometimes doesn't go the way I would anticipate her to go around it. She finds a completely way that I never would have expected, and I'm like, "Wow."
Mhm.
But that's really fun. So we've been learning that. We've been doing the parkour, and she absolutely loves that because she gets to jump on things and she gets
Mhm.
to really move her body. She's got really great proprioception, so that's been really fun as we've been working through some fitness stuff.
Yeah.
Even the fitness trainer was like, "Wow, this is pretty nice for a dog that hasn't really had any formal training in that area before." So that's pretty fascinating. And then we've decided to start working on rally. I don't know
Okay.
that it
Yeah.
will be really her thing, but it's just something that we're like, "Hey, we're gonna try this." Sometimes she gets a little bored when we're practicing, but I think that's more she knows the stuff and is waiting for me to catch up to her level.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
So
with rally, it's always I find they kind of it's for human actually a steeper learning curve. Once the dogs know the foundation is for the human to figure out how to read the cards and what to where to go, which way to go, and so on.
yeah, I was like, "Oh my gosh." So it's
Yeah,
like she's always 3 steps ahead of me there, but, that's okay. We haven't really
give
I
her time; she will teach you. Don't worry.
right? It's just so, I mean, I guess we could explore agility, but I'm a little terrified that I would fall flat on my face because 'cause I'm not the most coordinated person.
Hmm.
She's definitely way more coordinated than I am, so but I think she would
I
probably
totally
love.
understand you there. I tried agility. That was my conclusion too.
I mean, after, like, my shoulder injury when I did that, I'm like, "No, I don't think I can do this." But, yeah, so we haven't really had a chance to explore what else is out there other than those things. We've been just I will just probably try keeping up with the tricks too and seeing what more things we can come up with. I know we want to finish out all the like titles that you have in your program because it's just so much fun. Um, I don't know what else really is out there.
Oh,
We'll
yeah.
keep
There
exploring.
there is always something else. You also interesting. The one thing I love about tricks is that they're so engaging, and it's an opportunity to engage variety of people from variety of backgrounds with trick performances. With other dog sports, they are spectacular, spectacular friendly, but not to that degree. Tricks really can engage anyone from kids to elderly people and anyone in between, anyone, and you can do them anywhere. And I saw
You're
you,
so right. I totally even didn't think about it because I know when we started this, it was very, oh, I'm just gonna see what we do, and it's just me and her kind of thing. But especially along the challenge journey I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know where we are in this whole thing. And I started out with just, I'm just going to keep it quiet. I'm not going to tell anybody. But then as we started getting some feedback and growing a little bit more confidence, I started telling like coworkers and then other friends that we were involved in this. And then they were all like, well, my kid has this. You can you use that in something? Or my coworkers were like, maybe try adding music and try this and like everybody else. And so it just became this whole like group effort kind of thing of everybody getting excited and into it, which I thought was fantastic. That
yeah.
who would have thought a dog could bring a bunch of people together?
Yeah, I think to be honest, dogs can bring people closer together than any motivational speaker, much more effectively. And I saw you started doing a little presentations for or little shows for kids.
Yeah, the Girl Scouts.
Yeah,
So with their animal helper badges or something.
yeah,
So and I even did it off lead. I was like, oh my gosh, I've never even with the service dogs, it's always keep your dog on lead because it's so it's like such a big
yeah, yeah. Well, it's obviously it's fairly restricted, and there are certain rules and all of that.
yeah. So it was just such a mental like frame of mind for me, and then to break out of that I was like, she did everything off lead, like that was amazing, which I mean she should, but it was just that whole like thing that I had to get over. She was like, come on, like
Yeah,
help me.
that's fine, mummy. Mummy, watch me do.
Exactly. So I was like, man, we could do, I don't know, nursing homes or something like
Yeah.
that. Or it's funny because when we did end up winning, I had several people like reach out to me. Can you come to our Boy Scouts, our Girl Scouts? And so I have like a bunch of them lined up now.
But that's a great thing. I do that as well quite a lot with my dogs, and I find it actually a really rewarding experience. I always balance it with the kind of a little talk about sort of dog safety, because I think it's when kids the way they behave around dogs sometimes is do totally wrong thing, and so I'm kind of trying to balance the kind of fun element with um, the kind of educational element. So don't run away from the dog, don't flap your hands, and then that sort of stuff. And then we do a little role play where they do try to run away, or I run away, and show the kind of how dogs react, and then kind of role play. Okay, now show how you should be doing it, and
That's
that's
fantastic. I never thought of actually having them role play that. That's really
well,
awesome.
the other idea for you, we also do quite a lot of sort of a team or sort of almost like a rally type thing where kids do part section, dog do another part section, so they kind of join their team. Say, for example, and they putting, you can have a teams with the putting tennis balls in the bucket or whatever, and dog is part of the team also joining it. Obviously, it needs to be structured so not to turn it into chaos, but that sort of team competitions is really good fun.
Oh, that is
Um,
awesome. See all these great ideas.
Nursing homes is also great. It's a difficult environment to work with. but it's you. So and you need to adjust the program depending on the nursing home and how much interaction you can get with residents. Um, and also the kind of the style of what they want to do, but it's also very rewarding. You can see how much difference that makes, so that's something you could perhaps take Java's some skills and bring more smiles.
Absolutely. I mean, because more people have to enjoy her. She's just got so much love to give.
No, absolutely. What other things you've got sort of, say, if you would think next 12 months, I would like to look back and think, oh gosh, that was successful. What it would be for you? What
Oh, so in my like
what would
calendar,
be the dream achievement in 12 months time, say?
so in my calendar, I have all delineated out. Like if we get this stuff done, then so she would. My goal is to have her grand champion and premier titles in parkour done by the end of the year. So that would be like I have to get so many videos done every month to be able to do. And then I would love to get at least one rally title
Mhm,
so we can kind of finish out, at least just say we did that
mhm.
and just have it for me. And then I would love to be able to like really dive into like some of the scent work, nose work kind of things. And then I would really love to finish out all the, like, it is my goal to finish out all those CTA titles.
You will get there.
But yeah, I forgot what something I had and then it totally went out my window.
Back. Lisa, in terms of the kind of as just to kind of finish off, um, what would be your sort of top advice to anyone who's considering doing trick training with their dogs? Whichever company, I mean, there are a number of companies who offer the trick titles, but in terms of tricks in general, so for people who are considering going into tricks, what would be your sort of top suggestions?
Oh, just do it. Just do it. Like there was so many nerves that I had and it was we made so many mistakes and tried so many different things, but just get in there and do it. I mean, the worst that you have is that you make some mistakes, but the best is all those mistakes are time spent with your dog and you that's so worth it and it helps build such a bond and that was such a lovely thing that I loved seeing all the videos of all the other competitors. It just made my heart happy to see all those people spending time with their dogs and just getting so much joy out of it and the dogs just really just enjoying getting to spend time with their human and I mean there's like no major expectations I feel with tricks like you can just be like free to do yeah that's exactly what I wanted
Yep, no,
or
absolutely.
you know it doesn't have to like look like a perfect I don't know handstand or something like that. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can just be picking up a toy and putting it in a basket. It can be so much fun and it just thoroughly find the joy in every little thing. I think is fantastic because there's just and I just loved all those people, and I loved being able to see all the other people's ideas. I was like, "That's a good one. I want to try that." And
Yeah,
then, "Oh, that's a really," and I loved seeing all the different cues that people had for
yeah.
maybe a similar skill. And I'm like, "Oh, that's a genius thing that they thought of." And you know, and I absolutely was just like, "Oh, that's clever. I should have thought of that." Or you know,
Yeah,
I
I
thought it
think
was really fun.
one of the those the kind of the benefit of the competition is kind of learning from each other, and we do try to very much kind of share. As a sort of next step will be approaching some of the winners of the group winners, and we'll be doing a little bit of showcase post like we did with you. So to kind of to continue that, I don't want people to have the competition done and then they kind of thinking, waiting for the next one. There is we still very much see it as a community that supports each other,
It
and
does.
we sort of
I
share
would.
ideas because we all have different skills. Our dog have different talents and skills, and it's a kind of feel it's a really great emerging sport. which I hope we all together will develop into kind of something even bigger.
And it became such a small world. Like I had followed what Jane and Marley and Cinnamon for a long time through it, and then come to find out I work on with Cinnamon and Marley's photos every day at work, and I didn't find out until like,
So you were
I
part
did
of the
more
competition.
research. I was like, oh my gosh, I know those dogs. I work with them every day.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, and also is the. I mean, we this year we had 8 countries taking part, so it's a kind of really joining people across the world without need to travel.
And exactly. I mean, because she lives in on the East Coast, I think. And I'm
Yeah,
like, oh my goodness, this is cool. So it was so fun, and it just made the world so much smaller, which is what we need, not, all that distance and whatever. So that's fantastic.
absolutely. Um, I think that's probably is a great introduction, and I just wanted to say thank you for joining this fireplace chat, and do hope for everyone. Do hope stay in touch, keep an eye, and there will be more fun things to come.
Yay! Thank you so much for having us. It was such a pleasure.
You're very welcome.